All right. Hi, everybody. David Fogel back with you, CEO of the Symphonina Foundation, back with another Symphonina Foundation podcast. And we're still on the same roll we've been on, one podcast a day, sometimes two, as we approach the first round of the Grammy voting. I think once we get to the first round of the voting, we may be silent for a little while as things get very busy. But I'm joined today by the founder of the Dallas String Quartet, Ion Zanca. Ion, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Dave.
Oh, it's totally my pleasure, and I've been meaning to get with you for quite some time, and just haven't been able to do it. So here we are today. Finally, that's great. I wanted to ask you, what was your impetus for starting the Dallas String Quartet? I think it was 2007. It's almost 20 years now.
Yes, thank you for making me feel old.
No, 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 no. We're all
I keep
we're
saying when people are asking me it's 10 years, but
uh, just
we're coming. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, at the beginning, I was playing in the symphony, and then I wanted an avenue where I can just try a couple of my own ideas and more modern music and more pop stuff. And that's how we got started. And then we recorded our first album, was a combination of modern and pop music, and that did really well. So that's
Hmm.
kind of just gave us an idea, okay, well, this is a niche for us where we can have fun and do the stuff we want. And it seems like it's at that time was kind of new, this like crossover string quartet.
Yeah.
And so we got to explore that right at the early beginnings.
So and you had a lot of hits and a lot of interesting events along the way. We'll get to those in a minute, but I want to ask, how did you get started playing the viola, or what was it? What was your first instrument?
So my parents are musicians and my grandparents are musicians.
Uh-huh.
I studied with the piano,
Okay.
and I went to a boarding school, and I was 6. And then after a year and a half, my mom realized I was too young. So she took me back home. So I stayed home, not doing music for a couple of years.
Mhm.
But then by fourth grade, it's like, well, we want you to study music. And in fourth grade, you could only choose from viola, cello, and like woodwinds instruments in Romania in the schools there.
Yeah.
And so I thought about cello, but then I thought about carrying it my whole life. And I changed my mind quickly. I told my mom that I don't want that.
Yeah.
And so viola I was. I never, usually, people play violin and then go to viola, but
Yeah.
that was it. I started straight with the viola.
That's great. And remind me or refresh me, when you finished high school, where did
Mhm.
you go in terms of your musical progression after that? Did you go to college further, or did you go straight to performing?
So I went to the conservatory in Romania for 1 year, and
Okay.
then I auditioned to schools here. I went to LSU briefly, and then to Southern Methodist SMU in Dallas
Yeah.
afterwards for my bachelor and master degree in music.
Great. Okay. And you've stayed there since then?
Yes, and I
Found a
stayed,
home? Yeah. You
found
found
a
a
home,
home.
found a wife, and
You
the
made a
rest
home.
is
That's
history.
it.
I
That's it.
made it a home, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not everybody gets the opportunity to perform for important people around the world, except for our families. Our families are important. We get to play for them. But you've performed for two U.S. presidents, Obama and George W. Bush. Let me hear a little bit more about how you had those opportunities and what they were like.
So George Bush is originally from Dallas, and we done quite a few things for him here in Dallas. They had a presidential library, so we played some of those openings for that. And
Mhm.
then for President Obama, we were invited to do during the inaugural week. They have different events, and
Yeah.
so we played during that time for him.
What is the security like when you're it's not just you have to play and be nervous that you might,
Yeah.
do something you don't want to do. We all have that as performers. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I do. But I would imagine there's other like extraneous concerns that come on when you're doing that, including like, how do I get my viola case through security?
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, it wasn't as crazy as it is today. Like I mean, we still had security, but just I feel like these days is like next level.
Obviously, yes,
And
right.
so it felt a little bit, it was okay. I mean, there was one of the girls in the violinist in the group. I remember we were passing, we went to one of the buildings. I forgot it's something of the Americas. It's like one of these fancy buildings in Washington,
Uh-huh.
in the cities, and each country has like a parking spot right there at the front, so you can read like Germany, US, whatever country.
Yeah.
I remember she looked at the park and it's like, oh my gosh, this place is legit. And we're just kids, we're just trying to like it was like a big thing for us, and we're just so impressed. And yeah, we didn't care, how many hoops we had to jump through to be there, but just
Yeah. Well, you were helping make it legit too, so don't forget that.
yeah, I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. You've also played for Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, I think at their wedding or
Yeah, we've done
other
some stuff
events.
for them, a couple of things. I have besides the Dallas String Quartet, I recently launched an agency called IMZ Artists, and
Okay.
so we provide a lot of music for concerts and private events. And so the most recent thing we did, Blake Shelton's team wanted to do a big party during the Country Music Awards here in
Okay.
Dallas,
Uh-huh.
and so they booked us to do the music for them, which was a little bit nerve-wracking because there was like 400 people, their record label, their
Yeah.
songwriters, their guest musicians, friends. Like you had everybody from Backstreet Boys to Keith Urban and like legends, and
Wow.
so it was quite intense, but it was good. And then Blake came on the stage and performed with us, and then Gwen Stefani, and so it's a very unique moment for them.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a little bit about that one. And when you're performing for those type of people,
Mhm.
you've recorded with the London Symphony Orchestra for your Romani album, which was awesome, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and also made #1 on Billboard. So 3 cheers for that.
Thank you.
Do you have a different sense of the moment when you're performing in those moments, or do you try to treat every performance the same?
That's a great question. No, I think it's very different. Depends on the audience because, what I feel like a lot of times musicians like it's hard for us to take in consideration is at the end of the day we're still entertainment, whether it's a concert like a super serious concert or a party, for some famous people. And one of the things is that I like to try to do is to read the room as best as I can, because there are different energies that you have to bring to different events. And so I would say that I treat them a little bit different because we play so many different styles of music. Like you said, like last year we were doing a very classical album in
Yep.
symphony form. And then we're doing like my background, I've always did like classical music, so I was playing with the symphony and classical. And then when I moved to this crossover, I had to learn fast. I didn't know who Journey was. I didn't know Don't Stop Believing,
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, I was like, why do people listen to music from the 80s? I don't get that. There's like
yeah.
new music. So it was like a big crash course in learning additional genres. And as a typical classical musician, usually you look down upon the other genre because they're not as, sophisticated or what have you. And but then I realized quickly that there's a lot in each one of them. I went to Berkeley to study a little bit of jazz. I
Mhm.
loved improvising, and then playing with musicians that are not classical musicians. That was a big leap because our group eventually was formed as like three classical string players and three jazz player. So that's where it creates this fusion.
Huh.
And then I mean, I don't know if you ever played jazz, but
Oh
I
yeah.
see some instruments there in the back, so I'm assuming you have. But it's such a different world, right? From the form, from the improvising, be aware where you are, the chord structure, which as a classical orchestral player, you just read your one line, and you don't have to know the form or the key or anything like that and be aware on how to do that. So it was a lot of growing. And so I think in a way that's kind of it's been very beneficial for me to be able to play for a country music star and then for a president and then write a symphonies. And I think flexibility when it comes to music is probably one of the very practical gifts because as a musician, as you know, we have to take every gig that makes sense for us, and sometimes if you say I only play this style, then you lose a lot on playing with other musicians.
I think it's true, and we'll see if you agree that by playing other styles, if you let them, they can reinforce your abilities and the way you perform in another style. And maybe that's not quite so much in the performance of classical, but for me, it's a composer in classical, my jazz influences. That's definitely true.
Well,
So,
100% I agree with you when it comes to that. And I will tell you a very practical aspect of it. When I was younger, I was always so not scared, but almost like didn't dare to try to understand what the composer like a Tchaikovsky or like somebody big, Beethoven like had in mind. But then when I started looking at jazz and other genres, if you stay and think about it, it's still the same idea. You have a melody and you need to orchestrate it. You have a form, you need to do all of that. And it has helped me breaking down the structure of the classical music in a way that I was never able to. I didn't even think that I should think those things. And I feel like that was part of the reason that I was able to write this album last year because my intention initially was not to write the album, was to hire somebody to write it because I'm a performer, I'm not a composer. But I found myself explaining, like, I feel this because it's a very personal story. I don't know how much you know about the album, but it's a very personal story for me, for the Romani. My family is Romani. And I was like, this is how we would play, this is how we would feel. And I was like, okay, this is not going to work, me keep telling a composer what to do and how to do it. So I think I have to do it. And first instinct was like, okay, this is very scary and
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, but like I said, I'm gonna start with just the melody. Like I'm gonna start with the melody that my mom used to sing, and I'm just gonna play this, and I'm gonna figure out because at the end of the day, it's still harmony, rhythm, and melody, right? So I don't think I would have even dared to think about writing something if I didn't have the background of other genres.
And I think as far as Romani goes, really, it was your responsibility to write it. It's your story.
Yeah, I just
You
didn't know
can't
if I
really
had the
pass that off
skills
to
for it.
someone else to write it. It's your story.
Well, yeah, it's just like the desire was there, the
Yeah.
skills I wasn't sure if I
Well, they
had it.
were they were there too. It was great.
You're very kind. Thank you very much.
It was great. What do you have planned with the Dallas String Quartet coming up?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I launched recently a new agency. It's called IMZ Artist, and we have different musicians that have played or collaborated with us in the past, the different bands that I put together, and we are working on producing our first concert. Normally when we tour, the venue buys the act, the show, and we go in there and play the show. But we wanted to create our own show. We're in charge of the production, lighting, and storytelling and sound and everything, where we have a little bit more control. And we're really, really, really excited because we're able to secure a really amazing venues here in Dallas, and it's called the Winspire Opera House. It's one of the nicest venues I've seen in the country,
Hmm.
and it's beautiful. And so to put our first Christmas concert together there, it was very exciting and intimidating because it's 2,000 seats, and you're like, oh, I
There
hope
you
I can
go.
sell it.
There you
And I'm
go.
like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm hoping that this becomes kind of an annual concert here in Dallas
Mhm.
where it's kind of like the Vienna New Year's Eve concert, that we can create it, where it's a staple concert with a lot of artists and a lot of guest musicians.
Yeah. Do you have a date for that yet?
December 17th.
December 17th. Okay, we'll be happy to help promote that for you. Just remind
Okay.
me as we get closer to that. I did want to ask you too, that last year you had Romani. This year, as I understand anyway, you're not submitting anything for Grammy consideration directly, but you did perform on Cheryl Engelhardt's According to the Moon album.
Yes, Cheryl was one of the first people I met when I joined the academy, and she is such a sweet person, and she's been such a mentor to me in this world. And when she asked us to be a part of this album, we're so happy and honored to be part of it. And I think they did such a beautiful job, and they have I mean, the whole team is amazing with Lonnie and everybody. And so
Right.
it was not hard for us to say yes to that. And we're happy to support, and we're happy to be a part of it.
That sounds great. That's submitted in New Age and Ambient Chant, as I recall correctly.
I think so, yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. What do you have planned for 2026? A new
2026.
album, I hope.
You know, I think one of my things I'm trying to be better about, I'm always somehow looking forward and never be able to enjoy the present. So
Hmm.
I'm working on contentment, just being a little bit more
Okay.
content
Okay.
with things and things to be natural. I feel like every year I pushed so much to achieve great things and do new things, but if I can learn to I mean, we have a lot of concerts, but I would like to see if I can take a little bit of time off. And my ideal world would be to write a new album, a new Romani, kind of continuing the story, because we want to take it on tour.
Hmm.
And right now the album is only about 30 minutes of music.
Hmm.
So to make at least an hour and a half, we'll need additional material. So ideally, I would like to see if I can write a new album. See, this contentment didn't last very long.
It's like 3 minutes.
See, that's what I'm telling you. I need help.
Well, it's like you're way better than my dad was. My dad was never content. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I went to grad school at University of Hawaii in Honolulu for a little bit. And at one point, my dad came in and visited me, and I took him to the beach while we were there. I was doing grad work in computer science and math, but I took him to the beach, and we were lying there for about 15 minutes. And then he pops up and claps his hand. And he says, "Well, what's next?" So that was it for
That
him.
sounds very familiar.
So you're probably living in the moment more than he did. But there's something
trying.
to that.
I'm actually reading books about it.
That's
I'm
good.
trying very
That's
hard,
good. There's the time and place for that. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, Jan, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, they can either find us through Dallas String Quartet or Facebook or Instagram, and we'd love to any new musicians and new people, if any of them want to be a part of, know more about this IMZ Artist Agency. My goal is to include all the artists and all the people that I come in contact with and create relationships in collaboration for the future. So we'd love to meet and talk to anybody.
That sounds great. We'll be looking for more information on your December concert as it comes forward. And we'll listen to some more of your great music on the way out here. And if there's anything we can do at the Symphonina Foundation to be of help to you, you just let us know.
Thank you so much for having me.